I think I was trapped in a vast dark room. Now that I am in a TPLF-controlled country, I decided to come to Desi and Kombolcha. The Wollo refugee was barred from passing through Debre Burhan, so I took my family to the Afar region and then to Addis Ababa in an office car, but the local youths did not listen to the ban on the way out of the city. There was no word on the situation, but we were told that the situation was out of control and that other forces were on the scene. I cancelled my trip to Addis Ababa. The existing army crossed Baton and marched towards the Afar border. On the second day, friends in Kombolcha told me that the TPLF had entered Kombolcha and started on the road to Badi. 2 days after I left home to move to the heart of the city. When I get to the city center, they are walking around, half of them sitting in groups, talking about their torn military uniforms. I went to a cafe and sat down and ordered coffee. Most of them were TPLF fighters. The coffee came. I stared blankly at the unarmed teenager, a young man armed with a sniper on his clothes, an unarmed 13-year-old boy sitting on the sidewalk, scratching his head. The city of Kombolcha is under siege. There is nothing as horrible as seeing 100 bandits invading my country. Early in the morning, the whole army marched into Desi Road, leaving a few guards in the city. Half of the people who are out of information are saying that they have lost the war and the other is saying that the foreign government should leave. But both assumptions were wrong. It is difficult to predict what will happen to us next. Ashu trucks, small military vehicles. There are rumors that TPLF fighters have crossed the Desi line from the Addis Ababa line in trucks, and that a guerrilla group has entered through Waldia. The sound of heavy artillery at night is promising. The local community is not familiar with the lifestyle, but many suffer from mental illness. It is difficult to imagine the lives of city dwellers. Some residents, who chose to die of starvation instead of starvation, survived for a few days by allowing the TPLF to plunder the grain depot and pretend it was looted. In any case, we are all in danger. In addition to the problem, it is difficult to cope with the resurgence of TPLF soldiers. I heard that there was a candle lighting ceremony for the massacred people of Kombolcha and Desi at Meskel Square today. On the second day, we received a government leaflet that read, "Your illness is our illness." We have arrived. The people of Wollo have a rich history, especially the Wollo people. He was not waiting for the government's warning. We started. TPLF foils robbery looting, but as time went on, the TPLF, realizing that all private clinics and drugstores had begun to operate, robbed the guards one night. As the day wore on, I was in a state of shock. The 34th day after the TPLF military commanders at the Goff View Hotel in Kombolcha carried out a drone strike, killing at least 70 TPLF commanders. As the day wore on, I was in a state of shock. I realized that the government had given me hope. The length of each day is not to be underestimated, especially if I'm looking around the area. It hurts when I find out that any sound sounds like a heavy gun being fired from a distance and I try to filter it out. On the 35th day after the TPLF took control of the city, the TPLF artillery stormed the Kombolcha campus of the University of Wollo and opened fire on Harbu. The cannons roared. A few hours later, the drones attacked them. There was another gun battle. The drone shots stopped. The cars they looted from the facility started running. On the 36th Sunday, at 9 p.m., we started to hear the sound of drone. 20 minutes later, I arrived at the scene of the attack. I was shocked to see what I saw. It is strewn all over the place. Twice he tried to stop the cars to take his body, but they both abandoned him. The TPLF is still moving in and out of the country. Most of them are limping. On the first day of the week, on Monday 12:30, the sound of heavy artillery was heard. People began to look around, and the army began to march to the left and right of the road. The heart of the freedom seeker was relieved, especially when he was impressed by the 2-day liberation war from Dina to Desi. The Humane Army crosses Kombolcha to Desi. Some youths surrounded the army and inquired about the situation. Some youths are demanding that a weakened army member surrender when the TPLF takes control of the city. As I passed, a woman in a military uniform dressed in her pajamas cried and wept. Troops continue to destroy TPLF military.